G'day guys, today we're going to be installing and taking a look at Knulli OS for the R36S. If you haven't heard of Knulli OS before, it is a very popular OS choice for the Ambenic series of handhelds. The R36S port hasn't officially been released yet, but an early alpha build has been posted to Reddit, and that's the one we'll be taking a look at today. As always, we'll be installing it to a fresh SD card, so we'll also need our USB SD reader. Nothing fancy. Let's get into it. We're over on our Windows 10 laptop now, and we've just gone to the Reddit page where the custom Knulli build was announced a few months ago. Just gonna scroll down to the description. You can see here, Crispy Begs did post a pastebin link. Click that. Inside is just a mega.nz link, so we'll copy that. And we are finally on the download page. From here, we'll just click download. While that's downloading, we'll also need to download a few tools. The first being Rufus, which we'll actually use to write the image to our SD card. Just scroll down. I like to download the portable version, which at the time of filming is 4.9p. We'll also need to download and install 7-zip so we can actually extract the image from the archive we've downloaded. Once everything's finished downloading, we can close off Chrome and open up our downloads folder. Inside, we should have the Knulli image we just downloaded from mega.nz, Rufus, and 7-zip. I don't have 7-zip installed yet, so we'll install that now. Double click on it, click install, and click close. Nice and easy. From here, we want to extract the RK3326_builds.zip. Just right click on it, go down to 7-zip, and go to extract. Once extracted, we should have a GZ image. We'll also want to extract that. So again, right click on it, 7-zip, extract here. And we should finally have our Knulli-RK3326-R36S-Firefly image. Just going to insert a fresh SD card into my USB SD reader, and we'll pop it in the laptop. Once inserted, we'll open up Rufus, just double click on it, click no for updates. Under device at the top, make sure your SD card's selected. For us, it's D drive, 64 gig, so that's correct. It does already have something on there, but when writing the image, you will lose everything on the SD card, so make sure it's either blank or you don't care if you lose anything on it. Under boot selection, we want to leave disk or ISO image, and we'll click select. Navigate to our downloads folder where we actually extracted the image. Here it is here, double click on it. And once you've triple checked you have the right device selected, just click start. Once it's finished writing, we can close off Rufus, and we'll open up our disk manager just to see what partitions were created. Just right clicking on the start menu, going up to disk management. For us, it shows up as disk 2, and you can see we have a 3 gig FAT32 Botacera image, a smaller 512 meg partition after that, and the rest of the SD card is unallocated. It does create the ROMs partition upon first boot. All we want to do now is safely eject our SD card. Just right click down here and go to eject, and then we'll pop the SD card into our R36S. We've inserted the SD card, we'll power it on and let it do its initial boot setup. There we go. It is resizing and formatting our ROMs partition. There's the Knulli logo, Knulli Firefly, and we're on the home screen. That didn't take too long at all. It seems this alpha build of Knulli is configured for screen panel type 4 out of the box, so it should also work on the R36H without having to change anything. There was a comment on the Reddit thread where we downloaded this, where someone else tested it with a different screen panel device, and they ended up just copying the stock SD card's DTB file over to the correct folder in the boot partition for Knulli, and it did work for them. Unfortunately, all my devices are panel 4, so we can't actually try this. But now it's finished its initial setup. We will power it off and put the SD card back into our computer. We're back on our Windows 10 PC. I've just put the SD card back in. And before we do anything else, we'll just take a look at the boot partition, which is D drive Botacera. So there's not too much in here, but if we go to the boot folder, we can see there is an RK3326-RG351MP-linux.dtb file. From what I've read, this is the screen panel file that you would copy over from your stock SD card if you don't have a panel 4 R36S. You'll also notice no ROMs partition popped up, so we'll take a look in disk management, and we can see there is a 56 gig healthy partition, but unfortunately it is an ext4 Linux partition, so we can't access it on Windows out of the box. What we can do is delete the Linux partition, create an exFAT partition, which we can access on pretty much every device, including Linux. And then when we put it back into our R36S, it should automatically rebuild the ROMs file system. So to do that, we'll just right click, go to delete, triple check you have the correct device selected. You don't want to delete your boot drive. So again, for me, it's disk 1. It's a 64 gig SD card, so around 60 gig free. You can tell if it's the correct one since it should say Botacera. And we want to delete the largest one at the end. Once you've triple checked, click delete, click yes. Should now be unallocated. Just want to right click on it, go new simple volume, go next again, go next again. Under file system, change it to exFAT. Under volume label, we want to delete that, and we want to change it to lowercase share for share. Click next, and click finish. You can see it automatically mounted, so we can close off disk management, and we should have an empty partition, E drive share, and we do. Once more, we'll safely eject our SD card, and we'll put it back into our R36S and power it on. The SD card's back on our handheld, we'll power it back on. We do still get the Knulli logo, which is a good sign, we haven't broken anything. Now you won't actually see anything happening, but it should be rebuilding the ROM's file system in the background. It did take around 30 seconds, so it didn't take too long, but we are back at the home screen. Before we copy any of our own games to it, I think we'll take a look at what's installed out of the box. So we've got Commodore 64, there is Fix-It Felix Jr., which is pretty funny. It's obviously a play on Wreck-It Ralph. If you go to emulators, you've got PPSSPP and ScumVM. There's obviously no games for them though. PC Engine has 2 homebrews out of the box. There's a 2048 NES port. Donkey Kong Arcade looks like it was ported to the Super Nintendo, and that's available. There's an isometric puzzle game for the Game Boy Advance, Space Twins. Reminds me a little bit of Solstice or Altered Space. And we've got a few ports. Mr. Boom, which is a Bomberman clone. SD Pop, which is Prince of Persia. And Doom. We'll obviously have to check out Doom. So straight away, the first thing I've noticed is there is no sound. If I hold the volume up button, not much happens. I think we'll quit out of Doom, go back to the main menu, and see what's up with our sound. So back on the home menu, there should be music playing. So the volume button does work. Okay, so the issue is the volume. It's currently set to 100%, but it is incredibly quiet. It's almost at a whisper. If we go to Start, go down to Sound Settings, we can see everything's set to 100%, but unfortunately, there is almost no sound at all. It feels like it's set to around 5% volume, so that is a bit of an issue. Obviously, this is a very early alpha build. It's not ready for public release. So the sound issue will probably be fixed before it does get released. We'll go back into Doom though, without sound. So it looks like it's not Ultimate Doom, since there is only 3 episodes. We'll see if we can go to one of the other 2 and see if it's full version. And it's not, it is just shareware. So we are stuck with just the first episode, which is fine. You can obviously copy your own WAD over. We'll go Ultraviolence. Pressing the left joystick in does toggle auto run. So we're running now, press it again, we are walking. Most of the time you're going to want it on. X fires. It is pretty hard to navigate. Oh. There we go, I'm getting wrecked. And I'm gone. I think what we'll do is, we'll turn it off, pop the SD card back into our computer, and copy some games over. We're back on our Windows 10 computer, pop the SD card back in. Our ROMs partition, or share partition, did show up again. If we go to it now, we can see it is full of folders. We've got Kodi. I'm guessing this is where you would put your media files. Yep. So movies and music. There's none in there out of the box. Go down to ROMs, and here's all our systems. So this is where you put all your games. For example, you put your DOS games under DOS, Game Boy games under GB, etc. I think we'll copy a bunch of games over, and then we'll see how well they actually perform in Knulli on the R36S. So I've finished copying a bunch of test ROMs over. So I think now we'll take a look and see how well they actually perform on Knulli OS. We'll start off with something simple, NES, Mega Man 2. So NES works flawlessly as you would expect. Let's take a look at some shortcuts. So function key should be our main hotkey. We'll hold that. I think Y is save state. And if I move over, function and X should load, and it does. I believe function and D-pad left is rewind, but it doesn't seem to be configured. Function and D-pad right is fast forward though. You can obviously change all the hotkeys in the RetroArch settings, which by default is function and B. To exit out, it is function and start. Next we'll try N64, who's got Mario Kart 64. Mario Kart 64 seems fine. There was a few lag spikes on the main menu, but once you're in the game, everything seems perfectly fine. Next up, we got New Super Mario Bros. For the Nintendo DS, and yeah, this one seems perfectly fine as well. Next up, we've got House of the Dead 2 for Dreamcast, and this one seems perfectly fine as well. This is Crash Bandicoot 2 for the PS1, and as expected, PS1 runs pretty much fine. This is Mega Man Powered Up for the PSP, something a little bit harder to run. So PSP runs about the same as it does on all the other OSs that we tried for the R36S. No major differences here. We do still have the occasional lag spikes in Mega Man Powered Up, but they are present on all other OSs that we did try as mentioned. Pressing the function button brings up the PPSSPP menu, and from here we can go down to quit or save and load your state. You can also press function and start to exit. Unfortunately, my DOS games didn't show up, so it looks like MS-DOS isn't supported out of the box. I did also copy some ports over. Vanilla RA, Super Mario War, and Revolt GL. None of them actually load, but we haven't actually installed Portmaster on this device. So I think what we'll do now is we'll see if we can get the internet actually working. We'll start off with our TP-Link USB adapter. Again, just using a cheap USB-C to USB-A adapter. We'll press start, go down to network settings, go down to enable Wi-Fi. We'll enter our SSID. No networks found. There we go, container. So I did find it, just took a little bit. Select that one. I'll enter my password. So I've entered the password, hopefully it does connect. Still says not connected. I might go back and refresh this page. We'll go back into network settings. And we do have an IP, 220. So now we've got internet access. We'll go back to ports and install Portmaster. It ran the script and it's taken us back to the ports menu. So hopefully it's installed. We'll try and run Portmaster now. It does say starting Portmaster, that's a good sign. Took about 20 seconds, but we're on the update screen. So we'll press A, update. It's finished installing, press A again. After it downloaded a few files, we're finally on the disclaimer. Press A to accept, and we're in Portmaster. We'll go down to ready to run ports, and they all did show up, which is good. We'll try Blake Stone, Aliens of Gold. Very cool old game. Press A to install. That didn't take long at all. Press A again. And we'll quit out of Portmaster, so just press B, go down to exit. So there's our new game, Blake Stone. See if it works. Hey, we're at the Apogee screen, PC 13. R1 is fire, it looks like. We'll quit out of this and try one of the Portmaster games that we copied over from our other ArcOS install. Function and start does actually quit ports as well. We'll try Vanilla RA, which is an open source Red Alert port, and it does load perfectly this time. So if you have an issue with ports not loading, make sure you do install Portmaster first. We'll go start new game just to make sure. So Vanilla RA works fine. The joysticks are mapped correctly, which is great. On some clones, they are inverted or they don't work at all. But left joystick moves the cursor, right moves the map. So that's perfect. Once again, function and start to quit. So we know some USB wireless adapters work. I think now we will try USB tethering from a phone. So I've just connected my Android phone to the R36S over USB. On the R36S, we'll press start, go down to network settings. And on my phone, I'll enable USB tethering. There we go. Not too sure why it toggled back off again. So that's enabled. Go back in. Hopefully we get... It says it's connected, but no IP. I might disable Wi-Fi. Maybe that's interfering with it. So it still says connected with no IP address. I think we'll try the scraper and see if it scrapes our game images. I'm guessing no internet. So tethering doesn't seem to work. I think what I'll do is I will reset the R36S. I'll unplug the phone first. I'll reset the R36S. We'll do a full shutdown and reboot. So now it's powered off, power it back on. So now we're back on the home screen. I will reconnect the Android phone. There we go. Enable USB tethering. So that's on. Press start, go down to network settings. Hopefully we get internet. It says it's connected, but doesn't show the IP. If I turn tethering off, does it still say... No, it says not connected. Go back into it. Give it a second. There we go, connected. So it looks like it is connected. I think we'll go into Portmaster just to see if the internet actually works. There's the Portmaster logo. It's a good sign. We'll go down to ready to run ports again, and we'll just try 2048. This information could be cached, so it hasn't confirmed we have internet yet. We'll go A install. And if it does download and install, we do have internet. Yeah, so we do have internet access, so USB tethering does work. That's awesome. We'll quit out of Portmaster and just make sure 2048 did install. So it did install, but none of the buttons work, so we can't actually play it. It does confirm that USB tethering works though. Before we wrap up, I'll power off my R36S and I'll put this exact SD card without altering anything straight into my R36H, since they both should use panel 4, and we'll see if it works out of the box on that. So here's our R36H. I'll take the stock SD card out. We'll pop the Knulli one in. This is the one we just took out of our R36S. Again, hasn't been touched at all. There we go. We'll power it on. So we do have the Knulli logo. It's a great sign. And we're on the home screen. So it does work on the R36H out of the box as well. We'll turn the volume all the way up and see if we have the same sound issue. So it seems the volume's at max, but there is still almost no sound coming out. It does work, it is ultra quiet. Overall, it's a very cool little OS. It does boot fairly quickly, around the same, maybe even slightly faster than ArcOS. Wireless adapter support as well as USB tethering were great. Again, pretty similar to ArcOS. As game performance goes, I noticed it was about the same as all the other OSs that we did try, including ArcOS. So at the end of the day, it really comes down to personal preference. Portmaster did install and work perfectly, first try, which was great. A bit of a letdown was DOSBOX not working out of the box. I'm not sure if there's something that we have to change to actually enable it, or if it actually needs installing, but DOSBOX did work out of the box on ArcOS. The sound is a bit of a deal breaker, but again, this is an ultra early alpha release, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what the finished product looks like. If you have a spare SD card laying around, might be worth checking this one out. I think that'll do it for today. If you have any questions or comments, let me know down below. Otherwise, thanks for watching.